Joining me live is Sky News aviation expert Captain Byron Bailey. Good to see you again, Byron. So we know more details about what potentially has gone wrong here. It seems like it could be human error. And
yes,
the pilot has said that he believes he had clearance to enter the runway to take off. But we also have these transcripts between air traffic control and the two planes, which would indicate that the A350 Airbus Japan Airlines flight had clearance to land on that particular runway at the airport, but the Dash 8 plane did not have clearance to enter the runway and was instructed to go to taxi to holding point C5. So from all the information that we have now, what's your view on what's happened here?
yes. Well, this is definitely, I think, pilot error on the part of the crew, not just the captain, but the co-pilot of the Coast Guard aeroplane. I'm just holding up the picture here of Haneda. As you can see, there's 4 runways. And normally, just like Heathrow and LAX, you have one runway for departing and another for landing. And there is 5 ground frequencies and 6 tower frequencies, depending upon where you are on the airfield. Hang on, I'll just hold it up
a little bit higher if you can, because we've got some detail on the bottom of the screen that's blocking that view.
Okay, well, anyway, can you see that?
Just hold it a little bit over towards the centre of the screen if you can.
Yep. How's that?
Okay.
This is 34 right, the landing runway. This is where you would normally line up on these 2 holding points here. Charlie 5 is this one here. So the captain of the Dash, probably in a hurry, they were taking aid up north. They probably wanted to get airborne as fast as possible. And this was an intersection departure. Now, all these holding points have a red row of lights that's called a stop bar. And you can't cross on the runway unless the tower controller actually deselects those lights and gives you a line-up clearance. So it's obvious to me, from what I've just been told anyway, that the pilots were rushing, that perhaps the co-pilot as well, he would have been doing the radio, but it appears what would happen, the ground controller would clear you to holding point Charlie 5, and as you approach holding point Charlie 5, he would say, hold at Charlie 5, call tower on frequency 12715, or whichever particular frequency it was. And then you would stop, you would change over frequency, and with your checklist complete, you would say to the tower, I'm ready for takeoff. The tower would then clear you to line up. He would deselect the row of red lights that stop you from proceeding, and you would line up. He would then clear you for takeoff on the specific runway. Now, before you line up, and especially the guy in the right seat, because you're entering and you're turning left to take off on 34 right, the guy in the right seat should have visually checked the approach path, because there would have been a whole row of landing aircraft coming in, all of them lit up like Christmas trees with landing lights on, strobe lights and everything else. So obviously they didn't look to see that the approach was clear. The other thing is that if they'd used the full length, chances are the A350 would have passed over the top of them when they lined up, but by lining up at Charlie 5, they're actually right in the touchdown zone for an A350. And when you consider the Dash probably had 6 tons of fuel on board, and the A350 probably landing still with 3 tons, a lot of fuel suddenly to ignite the whole system. But definitely this is the pilots rushing. And there's one other factor as well that you must take into account, and we don't know how junior the co-pilot was, because he was doing the radio. He would have been getting the clearances while the captain's concentrating on manoeuvring the airplane. But Coast Guard is military. I was military for 16 years. I was a fighter pilot. As well as just going from A to B, and civil airlines do that as safely and smoothly as possible, military people tend to have a fixation on mission achieve the mission. So there'll be other things going on in their mind. But certainly this is a case of the pilots probably rushing. The captain in his mind thinks he has a line-up clearance when he didn't. He must have crossed the red stop bar, because I can't imagine a tower controller deselecting the red lights that tell you to hold short. So really, it's on the pilots, I think, both of them.
Yeah. Well, it's great to get your insights on this once again, Captain. Thanks so much for joining us. Byron Bailey there.
Yeah. Thanks
so much.